Sup. Let's make a release compiler. Is this, why is it yellow? Can we just make this not, how do we make this not yellow? I'm tired of the yellow. The yellow is still here. I can't do anything about the yellow. Can't do anything about the yellow. All right, so somebody found a bug in and I don't know if it was in just in like bitwise and between things. All right, let's just see what happens here. That should be release compiler, but whatever. See, okay, so we got true, false, which doesn't seem right. We got true, false, true, false. This came out true, which doesn't seem right. Now, that's for compile time values. Because that's should be constant evaluated. So it might just be a bug in constant evaluation. So let's see what goes on here. Okay, see, that works. It is literally only in the constant expression evaluator. Wait. Yeah. So this is right. This is gonna assert. Okay. Not tests. We want to look in constant expression evaluation. I think it's just and. Do math const expr for and. With test for 0 false. I don't remember what that means. So NF. Where does NF come? I guess we compute it already. Get number flags for the left type, and the left and the right type should be the same. See, this is where it gets really annoying to debug because this is like a macro in C++. You can't really step through it. So let's try to figure out. Like, there's not necessarily any reason. All right. I bet if it's Boolean, I bet if it's Boolean, we look in the wrong place. Or something. So Boolean is going to be like number flag 8-bit. Oh wait, we have Boolean const expr. Wait, what? Where does that live? Oh, literally, okay, that's for things that result in Boolean. That is not for this. So this is literally going through this code path. Which is really not good. Okay. Okay, so we need to say so I'm assuming we have elft left is equal to bool. If that's a bool, we do this. We're just going to handle it. And then assuming this works, we're going to say no check-in, do the other operators, right? We have bitwise and, bitwise or, and bitwise XOR on Booleans. Okay, if it's type def bool, set the type to this. If so, do we have? Oh, this is. If they're both true. Actually, I don't think we need this. False. Because we don't set the number fields for the Booleans. Well, now they're all false. Why are they all false? I guess they're not equal to these literals. I wonder if we ever make other Boolean literals. I mean, let's just see. Let's just see. Wow, there's a lot of chat already. Your plane, which should be in front of the camera, only shows up when you turn around with all camera movement inverted, suggesting you're actually seeing the plane when it is behind the camera. Um, your Z coordinate is backwards. Like your projective space Z is backwards, probably. Your camera should be minus Z is forward. We do not ship routines that are minus Z forward by default, I don't think, because I like right-handed. For us, like X is forward or something. I don't. Yeah, just make sure you know what it is. You hand rolled the matrices. Okay, well, this is just 3D development. This is just what happens when you try to make a 3D program. This is how it goes. Obviously, something is not correct. What I tend to do in this case is set up an FOV that's very simple, like 45 degrees or something, and put vertices at known positions that should project to known positions, right? And then just see how they are off. Like you draw a quad that's like 1 meter away or whatever, and so you know where that's supposed to show up, and you just see what it is. That's how you hunt that down. Maybe you just need to come back when it's not 3 a.m. Yeah. Coming back when it's not 3 a.m. is a tried and true tradition that actually works. Oh, whoops, I put it in the wrong. We're hitting the false clause every time. So left, interp, literal, true, interp. That doesn't look like either of these. This looks like I guess we can't assume that all incoming things. All right. I think I remember this. You can't assume, like, we can make Booleans. Right? Value type. Oh, it's the value type is literal true. Oh, because, right, the reason we don't map them all is because sometimes you want a source code location, like if it's a substitution for something. I remember this. Okay. This kind of sucks. Like generalizing this is going to be weird. Okay, no. This is fine because they'll both be the same type, so we don't need this handled. So if they're both, we just do this. We just do literally what we had. Okay. Dude, it's still all fault. Oh, because we're on debug now. Actually use the compiler that you build, please. Hey, it's the right answer, everybody. It's the right answer, everybody. And I'm just gonna, this isn't quite enough code to factor out once you include the differences. So we're just going to do this. And it looks like bad copy pasta, but the thing is, like here it's an or sign, right? And then, I mean, it's a different, I guess we could make like a macro, but it's just not worth it. Like macros are ugly and gross. And this is borderline though. I do not like copying this much code. Oh, and in fact, we might not want this to be the thing that we do. What do we do for... Okay, we actually do this. Same thing. How do you build a good work ethic? Believe that you are doing something important. That is the only thing that ever worked for me. Okay, so let's turn that assert back on. There we go. So now we're just going to slam this out 3 times. Who wants a real grand slam breakfast? So then we're going to go, instead of and, we're going to go or. And instead of and, we're going to go XOR. Okay. So now this should be true, 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 and false. And this should be true, true, false, and false. Now, am I doing anything stupid? Like with that implementation that I pasted, is there something better that I should do? Like I could factor an inline function. Let's take a look at what it would be. So I could factor this. Okay, so first of all, this isn't quite right. Let's go back to the and. Because if these aren't true, we're not doing anything. So that's bad, but like I think we can just assert this. Because there's no other constant that's not a literal that'll eval to bool. Like if we got here, we checked at the top of the function that we got constants for both things. So we're saying if it's a bool, then they both have to be literals. And that gets rid of the problemo. So, what do we do? What do we do? So if I factored this out, we would say we could factor, like it would still kind of have to go in a macro, or we could just put this part and pass, it could go here. That's still kind of gross. Like we're essentially only saving that much. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Okay. I mean, I guess this whole thing can be a macro. The whole thing. Oh, because this and this are the same. So there's only one argument. I mean, oh, except there's this, right? Does C++ let you do these on bools as well? I guess it does. Okay. So then it really, okay. So, I mean, that'll work, right? Okay, hold on. Let's paste this so that we know what it is. I mean, this is gross, guys. This is hella gross. Don't forget to put the backslashes on the blank lines or it won't compile. Yay, macros in C++. Okay, we don't need this last one. Oh man, it didn't indent. Thanks, Emacs. Thanks, Emacs. And of course this happens. Bitwise Boolean or integer binary operator. What am I doing wrong, guys? Can I not put the ampersand in there? Oh, I'm not even using op right now, by the way. Missing a brace at the end. Oh yeah, because I had the extra one. Okay, good call. Now, it just doesn't like, well, that's in the macro somewhere, right? Actually, what if I say 3? Because we're not even using it yet. Cannot convert from int. That means it doesn't know what it is. Oops. Dude, I hate Mac. They're so stupid. I've been doing this for 30 years, and it's just as stupid as it ever was. Set substitution. Argument 2 from int. Oh, right. I am passing an int for op. Duh, okay, right. Sorry. This is stupid. I used the wrong name because it's an operator. Let's put symbol. Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks. Okay. So now, can I go back here and put the and in there? Oops. Wait, did I recompile the compiler? We did. Okay. So now it's giving us the right answer, but in order to get the right answer for everything, we need to do this and this. I don't even know if this is going to work because we're passing the thing to a macro. I don't fucking know. Some things like that work and some don't work. I guess it worked. All right. So we don't even need the return true because that's no, we don't have it there. Okay. Okay, we added an ugly macro, everybody. Congratulations to us. Achievement of a lifetime. Achievement of a lifetime. I'm in the old San Francisco apartment right now. That is true. However, tomorrow I move everything out of here. And then the day after it is done. Like almost everything is already moved out of here. Literally all that's in here is what's in this one room where I am, which is not very much. That by moving, well, way back when I actually moved out, I had some guys drive the stuff across the country. This is just what, so I left some servers running in here and stuff, and then we got rid of those about a month ago, and now I'm back to just shut it the rest of the way down. Dude, San Francisco is so bad now. You would not believe. It's crazy. What will I miss about San Francisco? I will miss what a cool place it was to live in the 1990s and 2000s. Which was 20 fucking years ago. You guys wouldn't believe what this place was like back then. It was nuts. It was completely insane. Today it just sucks. It's boring and it sucks. Is Mountain View, Palo Alto, etc. ruined as well? Not totally. They're a little bit ruined. Not nearly as bad as San Francisco. Like you actually could live in one of those places and be fine. The reason I don't is because California is an asshole. So, like, if I'm going to move out of here, I might as well just frickin' move. In what ways has San Francisco gone badly? Just look on the internet. Everything you see is true. Just do a Google or Twitter search about what has happened to San Francisco. Everything you see is true. Okay, so this is great. Now, this is a regression test now. Regression bitwise binary. Bitwise Boolean constexpr. That is now a regression test, and we do this. You've never felt more unsafe than in downtown SF last year. Dude, it is nutballs, dude. They're starting to fix it. So I feel like the absolute worst was probably 2 or 3 months ago. Um, the problem is for this to become a reasonable place is going to take some amount of time between 3 years and 50 years. And I've waited around too long and paid too high a price already. It's just like I'm getting out of here. I'll come back if it's nice and if California stops hating productive people, I'll come back. But I don't think they ever will. Like even if they elect people who don't hate productive people, they won't change the laws enough. So, rip. DA got fired. Yes, the DA got fired. We have who is someone who is hopefully a good DA now. North of Market is bad now. Yes, it is. Dude, Union Square is fucking Detroit in the 70s now. It's insane. I've only been to one place that was worse that was a downtown in my life, and that was downtown Johannesburg. And the only reason it was worse was because there was just burning barrels in the street and shit. Like I personally have never been in a city that was worse than downtown San Francisco right now. Oh, check out the rats at night. Okay, I'll show you guys a photo if you can see it on my phone. You probably won't be able to. I got it. I took it because I was going to tweet it because it's so indicative of what's been going on. Let me. You probably can't see what this is. Okay, I turned down the brightness on the phone. Maybe you can see. Maybe it looks horrible. Let me. Do I have Twitch open? Okay. I'm holding it closer. Let's try blowing up the camera. That would make sense, right? But it seems like the exposure is about right. Okay. What I'm about to show you is I went into Walgreens to just get a water and stuff. And this stand was prominently in the Walgreens around 9th and Market. So like basically downtown, right across the street from this Bill Graham Civic Auditorium. What this is a prominent display, as in these are common items that people are likely to buy, hot items in the Walgreens. What is in there? Mosquito repellent and roach spray. Okay. You simply never would have seen that. That is unheard of. Mosquito repellent and roach spray as hot items in a downtown Walgreens in San Francisco. Okay. What does that tell you about living conditions in the area? Now, also, by the way, here's what's right next to that in the Walgreens. Let me make this big again. Here's what's right next to that in the Walgreens. So here on the very left, you see half of that display that I just showed. Right next to it is like some cool kids sunglasses. Nobody's really buying those. And in the back is like the drinks area and stuff. And you can see the shelves are like kind of half empty or way more than half actually. It's just the ones that aren't empty have one or two drinks in the front. So there's like supply chain issues or something, or they don't sell enough of those to bother restocking them. Like one or two of those things is true, or both. That was the first thing I saw when I got back. And when you see stuff like that, you're just like, yeah, this really is not the place that I used to live. at all. Not at all. Like, who heard of mosquito repellent in downtown San Francisco, right? This isn't Caracas. Like, what is happening? Is there that much stagnant water downtown? No, there isn't. There is no stagnant water downtown. So these mosquitoes must be like living around the pipes inside buildings or something. Or, I mean, maybe mosquito repellent works on other insects somehow and people know that. I don't even know. I am living in St. Petersburg, Florida, which you can look up on the map. It's super nice. You're at Brickell, and there's definitely pros and cons. So the thing is, so the Brickell part of downtown is nice. It's just pretty small. Like it's too small to hang out there and have that be like my neighborhood. And like half of it is a mall. Um, if you go to the other half of Miami downtown, that's to the north, it's like not as bad as San Francisco, but it's not good. Um, that was one of the reasons I ended up there. I was like looking for a coffee shop to like work in or something, and I like couldn't find anywhere suitable. And I walked around that downtown for an hour, and it was nasty. So you can definitely find parts of Miami that are totally chill to hang out in, but it's also they screwed some stuff up. So in frickin' whatever that graffiti art zone is, I forget what it's called. Like there's no shade structures anywhere in this whole like 6 by 6 block area. Yeah, Wynwood. Who designed that? Like you try walking around fucking Wynwood in the middle of the day and you die. Like just put some shade structures until you can grow some trees. It's easy if you want people to hang out there. Okay, so we're running the tests. Yeah, the thing that I felt about Miami was there just were not enough like reasonable neighborhoods where I could just kind of walk around and live. Um, So I passed on it. But maybe it'll change over time. Okay. So it looks like this intervention has been successful. I'm going to go into high security mode for a moment. I'm going to email the person who submitted this bug. And I'm going to say, service guarantees citizenship. Oh, um, okay, so somebody reported a few things. I think actually the Boolean thing was not reported there. It was just on the Discord. So I'm going to run the Discord. I'm going to go to the secret beta channel. This is fixed in the next beta. The problem only happens during constant evaluation of non-results currently correct. During compile time, constant evaluation. Okay. One fails to print the context. Print fails to print the context. How to 011 context. Oof. The print failing to print the context may be a new thing. It definitely used to work fine. For some reason, we don't run the how-tos in the test suite, though we do compile them. I guess we need to start doing that. Okay, so I got a new bug report that we are going to investigate. Because frickin' you got to be able to print the context, and this dies. So, what is our best way to do this? We're just gonna do it here. Are we back? Yeah, we're back. Okay. I don't happen to have it here. Open project or solution. Yeah. So print item to builder append struct info. Oh, this could be totally new. It type. Yep. Yep. Dang it. Dang it. So this was a thing that I added. I'll show you the code. It is literally, is it this one or the other one? It was literally where we went. So when you printed a struct that had members of type any, Well, there's a thing called value. What? We're like several structs down at this point. Okay, hold on. What is this actually uninitialized, or what is going on? Let's remove the disassembly. We don't need this. So the type is null, and the value pointer is null. Because it's uninitialized. Hmm. You know, we could handle this differently. So I had two ways of handling this. One thing is before going into this function, we check it like here. And another one is to handle any in there. And I think I'm going to do it that way. Because then we can make that code more complex and not... Okay, here's what we're going to do. Okay. Case any we can get here when printing an array or struct of any. Okay, if, so we want to handle all these cases. We want to handle if maybe uninitialized. Then we definitely don't want to print it. Wait. Hold on. What? Is that an argument here? Yeah. Okay. If may be uninitialized, append builder, do we say potentially uninitialized any, else, is it called address here? What's it called? Item.data value pointer. If, actually we'll do it positive and then negative, else append, actually with item.type, append to builder, zero initialized any. Okay, if item.value pointer any with null Okay, otherwise it's 0 initialized any. And here, otherwise, I don't know what we should set that to, but dang it. Oh, wait. No, it's fine. It didn't fix it. I wanted it to fix it the first time. What is going on? Oh, because it's just null. Wait, how did we get there? Oh, because I didn't, no? Print item to builder, new any. Oh, I'm checking the wrong thing, dude. Yeah. Now we do this. If new any dot type, we print it. Otherwise, see, sometimes my brain doesn't brain all the way. It only brains about 60% of the way. Okay. So we printed this whole thing out. 0 initialized any. Okay, great. Let me go change our array handling as well, because we did this the same way. And then, I don't remember if I made a regression test for that or not. It was this. I did not have a regression test. Blah, 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 blah. Let's just do a simple thing. All right. Cool. Okay. Here's the definition of as type is not, this is value dot and value dot. 0 initialized any, 5, hello sailor, array any with null type field, 0 initialized any. Okay. So this is now a regression test also. Copy A to test regression, printing any instructs and arrays What did I add the other regression test? Yeah, okay. While these tests are running, I'm going to go into high security mode and say, I'm going to say, the crash printing the context was a dumb bug introduced just in the last beta. Will ship another one tonight since this is important to fix. The other stuff I will look at in priority order. Thanks. Okay, cool. So that was a 2-hour turnaround on the bug report. That's pretty cool. All right, so that's fine. Fix a recently introduced bug. You know, I didn't put these in the change log either. That caused us to crash when printing the context, etc. Okay. So, no, not cha-cha 20. We fix this. We're not going to do those yet. Okay, so I've got some Sokoban stuff to do. We're putting that there. And they're going to ship this tonight. And literally, the previous beta was like last night. Okay, fixed bitwise operators and or and XOR not working correctly on constant evaluated bool arguments. Fixed newly introduced crashing when printing the context in EG how to OLN. Can't believe that one got past it. Let me make sure that one still works, by the way. Oh, we tested it. Yeah, it does. This is kind of messy output, but what ifs? Okay. Okay. Quick Fixes 3 is kind of like King Missile 3. Okay. Okay. Now I wonder how bad is the inliner broken? Do we actually compile? What if I turn this off? Does it take a long time? necessarily. Maybe, but all right. So we are building with the inliner, and actually, maybe it was already enabled. Let's see. Nope. All right, well, does this crash us? Let's find out. Why not compare the output of how-tos to a baseline copy? Because we just haven't done that. Like, look, I'm working all the time. All the work that I do is productive. I haven't done infinity number of things, so I can't do everything. We do things as they come up. It does so happen that the how-tos have crashed a couple times in the last couple of betas, and so that indicates that maybe we should run them, but we just haven't done that. Like, we are programming power limited at this time, which is actually why I'm about to post another job ad when I get back. Why haven't I solved everything? Dude, if I had solved everything, I would be pretty happy right now. Well, we just enabled the inliner and seems to be working. The bytecode inliner is now enabled by default. That procedures and calls marked inline are definitely inlined. Because this has not been thoroughly tested, there may be some fallout. If you experience problems, you can set build options dot enable bytecode inline to actually I should change that to false in your meta program, or just change the value to false in modules compiler. I mean, the test just ran. That's great. However, a lot of them might have been using. So we're going to run them really with bytecode inliner on for everybody. And then we're going to do it again on LLVM backend in case LLVM isn't happy. Where do I post the jobs? It's going to be on YouTube. Do I find streaming makes me noticeably less productive? It really depends. Sometimes yes. And in those cases, I just don't stream that kind of work. Sometimes no. Sometimes it's a little bit more of a reason to not flake off and to be more motivated. So you just got to play it. Just got to play it like you play it. You forgot the book you were using as a reference uses a left-handed coordinate system. So your projection matrix was wrong. Yeah, I'm not that surprised. It's a weird thing because most people in math use right-handed, but there was some stuff early on in graphics that was left-handed, and then Direct 3D also for a while was left-handed. Now you can do whatever you want, but there kind of has always been this right-handed, left-handed thing going on. Well, let me make a release Sokoban just in case. But not relays. Not relays. This is going to take a while because it's LVM. Hard to alt tab to Netflix and 300 people are watching you. I mean, that's not really what I do though. I don't watch Netflix. I wish I knew something I wanted to watch on Netflix, but like I don't. So, GG's. GG's. Eric Langille's Foundations of Game Development, Volume 2. I mean, he definitely knows his stuff. That is one of the guys who knows what they're talking about, who writes books. There are some people who write books who do not know what they're talking about. Have I seen Halt and Catch Fire? I saw the first like 5 to 6 minutes and shut it off because I thought it was stupid. Do I like designing new games or something like the compiler more? I mean, they're both good in their own way. Eeks. I gotta type. My dude's running around. He is running around the town. He is running around the town, in and out. He is running around the town. What's my favorite season of Twin Peaks? I don't know. Season Fire Walk with Me. Okay, that's been pretty good. Those were the main bugs that I really wanted to fix. So now we're into. Let me just go back into high security mode. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to fix right now, as opposed to. Because we could also just do random ass things, right? Right. Oh, or I could go to bed. I'm still on East Coast time because I flew out here from Boston. And I've been here several days. But I've been going to bed at like 9 p.m. California time. Okay, so the person who introduced this one, any dot value pointer type seems to be wrong in debug info. Let's check that. It says pointer to void here. any value pointer. I don't know. I don't know if this is referring to which backend. And so let's just go here, and we're going to hose this. And we're going to say A is an any. A is okay. Try LVM first. Dang it. Bruh. Okay. We're going to step in so we can get to the file. Okay, A. Type info pointer. Really? Interesting. Okay. That's weird, but the LLVM code is confusing, so there might be somewhere else that does it. What about x64? Whoops. Type info void star. Okay, so the problem is in the back end. The problem is in the back end. That literally is the only string value pointer. Okay, so this says p void, which I guess is the type of the thing. This is type, right? Any type, any value pointer. Okay, and then down here, debug type any. Any type, any value pointer. Okay, why does it not like this? P void is, oh, it's this right here. That's wrong. Lol. Lol. Hey. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Fix the type of any that value pointer being incorrect in debug info when using the LVM backend. All right. Easy clap. You know what? We're going to run the tests because we're being thorough. Easy clap. Easy clap. We fixed the bug. That was great. That was Great. Boom. Okay, let me go back into high security mode and we will see if there's anything else. Is reporting something about backticks. All right. Do I care about backticks right now? The thing is, we're maybe about to rewrite all that stuff again, but maybe it's a good fix. Let's investigate. Let's investigate. If it might be an easy clap. It might be a hard clap. It might be a Terror of the Seas clap. Terror of the Seas candies. Yes. So while expanding the macro undeclared identifier, right? So here we call setter. Here setter says backtick t equals 2. I mean, okay, this is actually intended. All right, let me just reply to him. Okay. The debug info problem is now also fixed in the next beta. With the backticks, they are working as designed. They only go up one level right now. We may redesign this, but putting X is not a great thing to do. Maybe they just go all the way up to the calling procedure automatically, or the nearest declaration, but it needs some thought. The reason internal can see T is just because T is in its scope. You can do this without using backticks. You can do this one without using backticks. Maybe yeah, no. Maybe you could force rescope a macro. Or really any function. That's kind of nutty, but we might. I mean, that's a wacky idea. It's a wacky idea, guys. Anyway. Let's try one new feature while we're at it. Let me send this email that you can't see still. So we might fix our imports. We might fix our imports. Right now, when you do an import, it searches a path and whatever. Which is fine, of course. Sometimes you have to eat pistachio nuts, you know what I mean. Do I turn the screen back on? Yeah. So, sometimes you may just want to load a specific file and make it a module. So we're going to do that. Okay. This is a flag. And when we go into the parser, okay. So we eat the token, and then we say, so report parse error, expected an identifier after comma, and then probably return import still, I don't know, whatever. If it's an ident, file We could, um, I mean, we just call it, I mean, we could say load because it's like a load directive, right? Um, or we could try to be descriptive, like this is the specific file name. Um, actually, we already, hold on. We can actually specify all of these. Mm. Mm. This could be fun. Because these, okay, yeah. So I can get rid of that flag because we already have all this. We already have all this. So this hooks in report parse error. The only valid modifiers on import are file, dir, string, and string. Okay. So we're going to do these. Why am I doing these? Cannot set more than one modifier on import. More than one target type modifier on import. One of file dir string. Okay, people will get that maybe. And the thing is, I could just set it anyway. I can do this, and then I can do this, and that line can get posted. And then we can say import, because if we error out, it doesn't matter what we set it to. Pit equals pit path to file, pit path to directory, or pit full text. Okay. We're going to go here. We're going to go B is import file B. All right. B dot print, oh no, B dot F5. Print X is whatever. Right, so here we're just going to go right, that's fine. So okay, we got to rebuild the compiler at least, first of all. And we got to do some other stuff too, but Atom and Care 5. All right. So okay, let's make a thing called modifier. Provided import type. Okay, so message importer. See, we need to import the pit. Okay. Okay. See, with this, we need to make it visible to the people. So here, where was this? Provided import type. Do we must failed import. Compiler. What is it called? The thing that I added a couple months ago, where you rejigger the import, remap import. Because I want to see if we have, so import name, provide import, provided import type. Oh, it's in this file already. Okay. Import, oops. Import type, provided import type. This is what is written directly on the import. Okay, we're going to add, it's not just quick fixes. Import now takes modifiers that let you specify a given file, directory, or string so that you can skip the path import search process within the program text rather than requiring a meta program. The modifiers are comma file, comma dir, and comma text. these are equivalent to calling remap import with the associated provided import type. We're going to have to document this. Guys, I just wanted to do like a little quickie thing. We're going to have to like tell all the people about this. We're going to have a how-to. Oh my God. Oh my God. All right. Okay. I didn't eat the token, firstly, but we didn't even do everything else over there. Okay, so eat token Lexer. That's how we tell it we're done. Now, here, we need to add provided import type. Right, is that what we called it? Oh, import type. I don't know if I should just call it provided import type. Dude, I don't know. Anyway. So we do these things. Modifier is string, not text. Ah, thank you. It's because the enum is text, which maybe we should change the enum later, but string makes a lot more sense from this position in the program. Okay, so that didn't work because we didn't set the right string somewhere. Right, so you know, I piggybacked on this other thing and import name, import file name given by user. I kind of don't know if I like these all being separate things, but we'll do it. We'll do it right now. All right. Copy. Oh, shit. Must be a string literal. Yeah, so we literally don't let you put an identifier or anything, which we may want to think about later. Okay, so this is fine. Importing. This is funny that we have this. Lol. Okay. Here we will say, oh, I have to node check in, do the there's a thing that checks imports to see if we're re-importing the same thing and aliases them, and I probably should change that. Okay, but first we need the basic thing to work. You know, check in, make this happen in message import to, but here we will say, actually we'll just do this. And we probably should factor it together with this, honestly. now that I think about it, but first let's just see it work. Target. Okay. Unable to open file, nothing for reading. Well, that's progress. Why? Why is it nothing? Why didn't we set it? Cowabunga-oriented programming. I mean, maybe, probably, this is not the right string because we haven't set it yet till the bottom of the function or some crap, right? No, it's there. You see the string? So why are we saying unable to open file, nothing for reading? Full path with nothing. Maybe we reset it further down. Okay. Oh man. So this is in the load directive, which gets created later anyway. So we're gonna have to trace it back. Wait, what? Oh. Yeah, we didn't want that. We wanted this. Okay, so the load and closing import, path to file, file name given by user. So WTF. Full name is nothing. Full path with no short name. Okay. We got to look at this guy when he gets constructed. Boom. Boom. Okay. So start one import creates this load directive. Copy location info, load and closing import, load flags. I mean, we're not setting anything on it. Oh, import fully pathed file name is not set. Oh, I bet that gets set over here. Fully pathed file name. What does that have to do with anything? Full path with no short name. Why are we setting that? And why is fully pathed file name? What? What? Because that's a different fully pathed file name. These are all different. Found single file. Okay. Let's go here. Let's go to start one import. We're in start one import. Let's start over. Import arrow s. Here we go. Okay. Full text? No. Path to file? Yes. Does the file exist? Yes. File name. There we go. We have the file name. What is this though? Like why? This seems very wrong. How does anything work? How does anything work, y'all? It's a mystery. Is it possible to program in JS? I kind of don't think so. I mean, it's possible. I won't say it's not possible. Okay, I just wanted to re-explain that a little bit. Okay, so why are we do we set this up here supposedly? I don't understand. So this is an interp. Start one import. Fully pathed file name. Okay, we set it here. If found single file, why is there found file name and found single file? versus pointing to C string. Dude, I never get this right. Literally never. You don't point to things. Why did I name it that? You don't point to things, you point at things. Okay, we debugged. So this is debug now. Hey, it worked. So all I had to do was not screw that up. And it worked, which is great. Let's put that in. Let's leave it in debug and do a tests because we could have messed some stuff up. So we're gonna let it cruise the slow way. There are definitely some people in the beta who appreciate this. JavaScript is the new language for the book SICP. That is how you know that the world has gone to complete ass. It's a complete dereliction of duty that people have done this. You called it earlier. What did you call earlier? They say cloud makeup along with the book. They should get some more water. Okay, this is good news. However, there's still more to do. There's at least one no check-in that I remember typing, and then we need documentation. But we could check it in before documentationing it, but we cannot check it in before no check-in it. Scheme is a bad programming language, but it did try to capture that elegance of computers science, right? And there were definitely, like, the fact that it's S expression based fed into some of the exercises. Like trying to make that book with JavaScript just seems terrible. Why would anyone do that? And the reason is because it's not about teaching computer science. It's about teaching people how to get a job. Okay. How many no check-ins do I have? Several. Oh yeah. Okay, this one's easy. Anyway. Copy string into various weird string slots. Import pit. Import pit and target s value and true. I will tell you why it has all those arguments. So anyway, let's find a place to put this. Void this interp as directive import provided import type pit new string s value overwrite short name field bool. Okay. If overwrite short name field there. Great. Great. I mean, yeah. We also get here from parser. Oh, let's say source name. We're just checking it all. Okay. We're going to put an explain here. We're kind of just pushing the no check-ins around, but it'll work out eventually. Weird string fields. Rodney Stringfield, Ohio. Was it called provide import? Yeah. Okay. Target. New line in constant. Yeah, it's because I didn't put the quote. Okay, so now that I have this, the reason we have this is so we can also call it from elsewhere. Where, you may ask? The other file. What other file? I'm trying to remember. Also this file, actually. Right? It's on a no check-in. I know that. Yeah, this. No, not that. Where is it? I thought it was that file. Nope, it's in parser. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. So we're going to call this with interp import pit s value. Oh, import arrow name. Overwrite short name field false because we already put the value there above. That's why I made that argument. And okay, so we do this, and this is import arrow pit, and we get rid of this. That way we can change those implementation details of what those fields are and all that, and we won't have weird broken code. Hey, great. Wonderful. Nowadays, your CS school just brings bad memories and regrets. I mean, I learned some stuff there, but honestly, I would have learned better and faster in another environment. I just didn't have that environment. That was like the best one that I knew. Like I went from working on home computers in a very limited shut off environment to, to being at the university. And it was better than just the high school home computer environment that I had for sure. Do we still have a C backend? No. No, I deleted that. It's just not a good way to do things because you're limited to what you can express in C, which there are lots of things that we do that you cannot express in C. Okay. This is here because when we implemented remap import, it was before you could specify these modifiers textually on import. So we did this thing where you set different fields and it does various stuff. That said, these may not be consistently. We may want to change this so that these strings are always in import name. That would be simpler. We would maybe lose information about what the old name was. If a remapped import comes through the message queue, but if we really care about that, we can do what? We can have a backup value that shows what the user originally typed. That could be a useful thing, yeah. So I kind of want to re-architect this, but like not tonight. I would rather get the feature out to people and see what they think of it. So that's my comment. So really it's just this one now. So we go back to start when import, and okay, this kind of sucks. Wait. Oh, never mind. We don't do duplicate checking on these. Maybe we just shouldn't yet. Do we? Well, that's the path. Wait, this is not the thing that checks that, right? This is the thing that checks it. Add directive import. Aha! No, we literally already check. We literally already check. Okay, so fine. We're going to run another debug bilge. Debug bilge. C is turn complete, but that doesn't matter. We're not talking about turn complete. We're talking about, for example, can you have a hierarchical data scope namespace with names that show up nicely in the debugger in C? No, the answer is no. That's not about Turing complete. Can you add a 100 megabyte binary segment into your program without outputting it into a file as text? No. I mean, you could also write a .o file and link it, but then you're not outputting C anymore, right? You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? There's lots of stuff you can't do in C. Okay. So I go back through the wall. I wander through the zone. All right, I mean, it's working. So that's good. So we're going to commit this, and we're going to take a 5-minute brain break. And then we're going to check the how-to. Because I'm pretty sure we have a how-to for remap. Oh, we have examples. We have remap import. Where is it? Import replacement. Okay. That's fine. So we do not have how to on importation. We can write that. Why would you want to insert a 100 megabyte file in your code? Because you want a lot of texture maps compiled into your program that you don't have to load from a file. I don't know. You have a cryptographic dictionary that you don't want to have to load from a file. Anyway, did I play Dungeons and Diagrams? I haven't played the new Zachtronics because I will eventually, but I've got to say I'm a little bit hesitant, and the reason why is that usually when I play one of the games that they work a year on, I feel like it's pretty good, but would be better if they put more time into it. But sometimes they do totally hit them out of the park anyway, right? Um, Now it's like a bunch of mini games in a year. I just don't feel like I'm gonna want to play it. But I might be wrong about that. Um, I might be wrong about that. Otherwise, it's the worst one. It's worse than the Command and Conquer game from last year or whenever that was. That's a bummer. Exapunks. Exapunks was okay. Um, I thought Exapunks was not as good as it could have been. Um, like I thought Opus Magnum was great. I thought TIS 100 was great. I thought Shenzhen IO was super great. Actually, Shenzhen IO and Opus Magnum are super great. Those are like the top Zachtronics games of all time. Okay. Let's look in the how-tos and see import. Oh, right. Of course, we're going to use import. Do we have um imports in the name anywhere? I didn't see it, but nope. All right, we'll just start one. Okay, I'm pretty tired, so we're just going to make this a placeholder and just tell people about the feature. Okay, we're going to call it how to 040 import and load. I'm going to tell the people here. Hold on. So added a placeholder how to 040 import and load that minimally explains the above. Okay. This is a placeholder file. It'll be built out into a richer description in the future. Incomplete. So, boom. Okay. Import now has modifiers. Oh, this has to be a folder. Okay, we'll add this in a bit. Remind me to add it to source control. Okay. So the reason this is a vanilla import. You've seen it many times before. It searches the import path, which can be set by the metaprogram to find a module matching this name. The module can be either a file or a folder containing or a folder of files. Here we will look for here the following. It's pretty far down now. If the module, if the import path is set to the default, which is just one folder called modules, we will search for basic and if either of those exists, it will be loaded. When you import a module, that code gets its own module scope, which cannot see your program's global scope. This means that the module can be imported cleanly without global symbols causing unexpected changes of semantics or conflicts due to re-declared symbols like one often gets in C++. You can names, you can put a module into a namespace rather than importing all its names by doing this, math, import math. All right. The import above pulls all of BASIC's symbols into our programs. I actually don't remember what scope we put it in. Into our, let's just say to our file scope for now. We'll lie. I'll pretend I remember. Into our file scope. Thus, we can do stuff like this. Do stuff with basic array is new 3 float int I don't know, defer free array for 0 4 equals it times it, right? Okay, whatever. Print array, whatever. New, free, and print are all in modules basic. Okay, I can't believe I never explained this, except I also can't believe that. All right. Where's my compiler on the command line? Expected a statement before, oh yeah. It's the classic. No target, oh yeah. Main, do stuff with basic, heck yeah. Main. Dang it. Okay. Do stuff with math. V is a math dot vector 3, x equals 1, v dot y equals 4, v dot z equals 9, length, math dot length, v print, all right, do stuff with math. What a long vector that is. Okay, now what? Oh, you know what? I should have added. Right. I just want to do that. Dang it. Okay, we forgot the dot build. That's why we do this first. We forgot our lesson. All right. That's why we do this first. Okay. Import supports modifiers that help you load specific things into modules rather than searching the import path. For example, import file files specific this lets us load a file with a known file name without having to search the import path. Okay, so do stuff with specific. What are we going to put in there? What possible function? What should we put in the file? Let's say copy string is in basic. Let's use it to make a writable copy of this string. You can't modify string literals since they are read-only memory. Okay, S is copy string. What's a good text? Thought I'd take a walk today. It's a mistake I sometimes make. All right. Now, mess up, specific, mess up this string. This is different from load because load puts things into file scopes under your application scope. Import makes a separate module that cannot see your application scope, which may be useful for isolating code, like something that's supposed to run in a separate thread and not see globals or whatever. Okay. So specific mess up this string S. I don't know. A. K. I don't know what. I mean, I'm spending brain power on stupid stuff. Let's just do this. Okay, so file specific mess up this string. You know what? Let's just not even Like what? This is dumb. Let's just do this. T is specific, mess up this string as print S is T is okay. So we're just going to return a string. K T return T, right? Okay. Bruh. I'm in the wrong folder. Semicolon expected, yes. Yes. Copy string. Improd. We cannot see basic in the application scope. Must import it here. Because we are a separate module, bro. Basic.copy string. All right. How good is that? How good is that? Okay, so now we'll say you can import a specific string. Right now, this has to actually be a string at parse time. Maybe later, we will expand this to support string constants bound to identifiers or returned by run. That said, the string directive will work. So import string done. What's a good text here? Actually, no, we don't want that because that won't compile as code. Never mind. We want a string that compiles as code. Foo factorial if x is less than. Come on. I'm just going to do this. Do stuff. Emacs is confused now with imported string. Okay. Hopefully that works. We haven't even tested that. Unable to parse an expression here. Oh. Wait, really? Why didn't that work? Let's try it this way. This is going to be even uglier. Oh, you know what? It might have just been this. Oh my God. Really? No. Oh, it is. Right, I need the semicolon, huh? Okay. But you need a semicolon because that is how insert works. Yes, it is awkward. Currently, we will deal with this in some way. It's a temporary, guys. Okay, so that factorial 2. Let's do this one. Let's do this factorial 1. Factorial 2. Oops, this is factorial 1. Just call that factorial. Oh, and this is factorial 2. Should have used this. Unexpected end of input in code block. Because I don't know how to program. Sure, I buy that answer. Okay. So that's pretty good. There's one more to explain. You can use importer to load a directory style module from a specific path as follows. Subdir import dir file. Oh, will this work? I don't know if this will work. Maybe it will. Files from subdirectory. Let's just see if that works. Make dir files from subdirectory. Load another file. We can load as many files as we want here, just like any module. Okay. Repeat, colon, n int f for 1 to n f. All right. Why is that not? Okay. Pete. Oh. Pete and repeat were sitting on a fence. Yeah, that's fine. All right. So we don't actually call that right now. Okay, so boom. All right. Let us actually use it. Do stuff with subdir. That looks like an Indian dude's name. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the Indian dudes in chat. Doesn't it? Am I lying? Okay. Subdir.repeat subdir.pete. Do stuff with subdir. I've got an extra paren. Not enough arguments. Oh, because I need to say how many times? 5. Subdir.pete. 0 arguments. Type wanted. Really? Wait, what? Oh, I didn't save the file. Save the file. Save the file. We do not see the basic import from because we are a different module. Incorrect number of arguments to print. Dude, it's like we've got a real programming language that helps us. Okay, except we didn't do it. What's going on? Oh, because I didn't put the parens. The parental guidance was missing. Okay, I think we're done. I think we're done. We got to put this in tests. Well, we're not done, but we're done. What's going on? Okay. 40. What did I just call it? 040 import and load. And we will run that. Let's make sure the release compiler is up to date. It seems like it is. Okay, great. Hello, people? Nice to see I'm back. Was I gone that long from streaming? It's been like a week, right? Something like that. It's been like a week. Oh no. Oh, see, this is just fucking Emacs turd files. We don't ignore them correctly. Or I didn't put it in because it seems like a hack, but it happens to me all the time that Emacs writes a turd file, and I don't know how to turn that off. I'm a pro streamer. I can't just go away for a week. Oh, I can go away for a week. Don't worry about that. Do not worry about that. When am I switching to 4Coder? When I can use 4Coder, aka probably never now. All right. So that's great. I mean, I think we're basically done. All right, so let us commit this. Let's make sure it's still building. Still building, all right. And how to 040. People will be happy about this, probably, maybe. Okay, so now we do the U, blue, blue, blue. Hopefully we didn't break it in the past day, which we may well have. Do I have a real job? I don't think I have a real job. It's really quite a tough challenge. I mean, so making a programming language is really interesting because once you do it, you really see how it all works, right? Um, it's one of those experiences where afterward, then if you program in C or C++ or whatever, you're like, oh, it's not mystical anymore. Um, if you try making a very simple language, it could be not that hard, but the more you try to make it real and like complex and do the stuff that you really want it to do, then the more of a challenge it is. That is for sure. Okay, it looks like we didn't break it. Oh, I don't know. Maybe we did. Hold on. Did I not add that? I thought I added everything. Dude, see, this is why we test. In this house, we obey the laws of physics. In this house, we obey the laws of physics. All right. So let's just do this again. Dude, why is copy and pasting so hard? Okay, how to 040. Look, it works. It works on all the platforms. All right, let's just do this again. And we're going to be optimistic that that's great. And we're going to go to here. And we're going to go version 32. Never mind that we literally, is it still the 12th? Yes. We literally just shipped this. Now we're at a good power of 2. It's a nice round number. All right. Update the version number for the beta. Oh, there was one other bug I wanted to fix, but we're not even going to do it yet. Screw it. It's bedtime. It's Miller time and bedtime. Made your programmer brain grow 2 sizes. You're not allowed to say that. Dr. Seuss has been canceled. We'll just wait a bit for these builds. Oh, you know what? I have to do this one manually. We're just rebuilding the very same thing we just did, but with a different version number. Because I always, if you bump the version number and then there's a bug you have to fix, you don't know if the one that you're shipping has the bug fix or not because they both have the same version number now, right? So I always fix everything, make sure it works on Linux, and then I bump the version number. And then we go. Just don't pour the Miller on the bed. Good idea. Good idea. How long have we been streaming tonight? 2.5 hours? 2:53. Woohoo! I'm also gonna process a couple more beta editions tonight. Shh, it's a secret. It's a secret. All right. Don't pour the Miller on the bed. The mattress. How long are you supposed to use a mattress for? Because I think I might have exceeded that limit, but it's getting chucked out on Thursday. I have been using this mattress 10 years. I think it's been a little longer than that, but maybe not that much longer than that. I've definitely been using this mattress for 10 years. It's like a high-end nice mattress, but still. Do I flip the mattress every quarter? No. Like Stearns and Foster. It's European Sleepworks, which I don't know how to get a good mattress in Florida, by the way. How do I get a good mattress in Florida? Okay. How we doing here? You know what? I can unpin this. I'll leave it up as, before I went and did this, I was like, hey, I'll give this talk afterward. And now I don't know if it's worth it, but I might do a version of this talk this weekend or something. It's maybe not worth the hassle. Okay. Now we push the Whopper button. Firm or extra firm? Medium? Sealy are good? No. No, we're not. We're talking about better than Sealy here. Tempur-Pedic. We're talking about better than Tempur-Pedic. All right. Now, that's it. I'm going to go deliver value to the people now. Thanks, everybody, for coming by. Sleep Number, I don't know if that's good. I assume it's not because, like, they're in malls all over the place, so it can't be very good, right? Could just sleep on the floor. I dated someone who that was her preference. It kind of wasn't the best. Not gonna lie. All right, thanks everybody. See you later.